Welcome to the Art of Money podcast with Art McPherson.
And thanks for checking out the Art of Money podcast. My name is Mark Owens alongside Art McPherson and Luke McCarty. All the information for the McPherson Financial Group, you can find it at theartofmoneyradio.com. Let's get a little perspective about what's going on with the situation with Russia and Ukraine. I mean, markets have definitely been affected by this. What about us here in the States? Is it time, Art McPherson, Luke McCarty, should we be tinkering with some of our accounts? Do we just kind of see what happens? Give me some perspective.
Well, one of the things that we've tried to do this year, and last year we started this, is to keep our clients up to date with what's going on, kind of what we see from a standpoint of a company, what's in front of us. So we started sending out quarterly reports where we had kind of our market snapshot for the quarter. Anytime we were making changes to our models, we kind of had a little description on kind of what we saw. Luke would be very good about detailing, the reasons for our changes internally in the models and just really improving our communication with our clients. We want to make sure our clients know what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, because information is always good to have, especially when things are uncertain and times are unnormal. It's a little bit of an unnormal time. We just right on the back of a pandemic that seems to be getting better, but you never know. We're not through that all the way either. And now this whole thing with Ukraine comes up. So it's on top of inflation and it's top of all the other things that are going on right now. So we've got a lot of unknowns, and the market hates unknowns. It really does. So it adds to volatility.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons right now for someone to be nervous and for someone to maybe try and jump ship and bail and kind of wait to get back in. The hard part about that, right, if you get out of the market, right, when do you get back in?
Yeah.
Or if the market goes higher, you're going to feel, gosh, I missed out. I can't get back in now. Let's wait for a dip. Right? If the market dips, you're going to think, well, it's going to dip further, then I'm going to buy in. So with our clients and with the portfolios we set up, there is some fluctuation with some of the portfolio, but not all of the portfolio is tied to Russia, Ukraine, geopolitical events, right? Oil, gas, everything going on and all the sanctions, right? It's affecting the markets, but not all of our clients' money is in the market, right? We have some different accounts that aren't affected by things like this, and we did that on purpose, right? We didn't predict the Russia-Ukraine situation, but we just know over time there's going to be events, and you need some safe and stable assets that don't fluctuate in times like these.
And one of the things we did in our end-of-year review is Luke brought up the fact that most of the analysts were predicting a volatile first half of the year. So unfortunately, our prediction has come through, and it has been very volatile this first quarter for sure. But we kind of expected that. But that doesn't make us panic. That doesn't make us do anything really differently other than trying to be more careful, more conservative at times during these periods. But you still have to have money that is growth money. You can't have everything sitting in the bank. You can't have, because if you do, over the next 10, 15 years, that's not going to work. So you got to make sure that money's at work. But it will fluctuate. It's just going to do what it does sometimes. Fluctuation is not a problem as long as you have a long-term strategy and as long as you know why it's fluctuating. You're still investing in the long-term of growth of the country and the economy.
Is that message, does it remain the same, Art and Luke, regardless of my age? Like if I'm 55 or under, not to panic, but if I'm older than 55, do I maybe need to, make some moves, or does the message remain the same regardless?
The message doesn't remain the same. It's less of an age, and it's more of when you need the money, what's in your financial plan, what's your time horizon. Because you could be 55 but retire at 56. Well, that puts you in the same boat as a 64-year-old retiring at 65. So it kind of depends when you need the money out is how much you should have on the growth side of the portfolio versus the safe and stable versus the income, versus the non-volatile side of the portfolio. But I've got a good stat here about, the last 37 major geopolitical events since World War II, all the way back to when Germany invaded France in 1940. And the main thing about all of these stats is if the economy is near a recession or in a recession during these geopolitical events, that's when you see a down market. According to all of our indicators currently, with the U.S. economy, we're nowhere near a recession, right? We have super low unemployment, right? Our retail sales are up, housing's way up, industrial production's way up. So I feel like we're not in a recession or near a recession. Given that, of these 37 events, on average, 3 months after the event, the market's up 4% from the S&P 500. 6 months, the market's up on average 7%. In 12 months, you're looking almost 11% up. So Some of it's noise within the market. Of course, what's going on with Russia and Ukraine is a lot more important, than money in the stock market. But from a statistical standpoint, the really big determination of what the market's going to do, at least historically, depends on if the market's in a recession when it happens.
Yeah, and if we look at the market at the end of the year and we're up 11%, nobody's going to even remember Ukraine. Everybody just remembers it right now because of the volatility that's going on. That's why you have to be long-term focused on it. And one of the things that Luke and I are always trying to do is make sure the noise, which Luke brought up, doesn't distract us from what our goals and objectives are. Our goals and objectives are to have money at work so we can overperform a 1% rate in the bank account. So it's just making sure that we are doing the proper things to get a balanced, good, long-term return so our clients are happy. And one of the things we try to do is make sure our clients know why we're doing what we're doing. We have a lot of communication with them to make sure they understand and they know exactly what we're doing and why our models are doing what they're doing.
772-281-5223. That's how you reach out to the team at the McPherson Financial Group. And I got to think in times of instability like this, your phones are ringing off the hook. Your clients probably have a million different questions. Is this a really busy couple of weeks? Are people panicked right now?
I think everybody's a little bit nervous, but we talk to our clients all the time, so we don't get crazy amount of high-level calls. We are talking to them regularly, and we are updating them regularly to try to make sure they understand where our viewpoints are. If we're not panicking, they don't need to panic, but we're talking to our clients. We're making sure they know and that they understand our perspective.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we got several calls the morning of, the actual invasion of Russia, Ukraine. We were nervous. I was nervous about it that night when I saw it happening. I was nervous about the futures of the market. There was deep, deep red in the morning, but then the market ended up being positive, and that was, 2 Thursdays ago. And then that Friday, it was really positive too. So the markets react differently to things. And, what we're seeing now is a lot of bad news kind of already baked into the market.
Yeah.
So barring any unknown worse news, or of course, if things get nuclear, I mean, we could go down the list of how bad things could get, but probably unlikely. It feels like the market should and will eventually kind of level out and normalize as we get a few months past these bad events.
And the reason for that is if you look at all the data suggests our economy should grow at 4% this year, even with all this craziness going on. So that's what drives the bus is the economy and how things are going. All this other stuff is kind of just noise and just makes the market react in the short term. But in the long term, things settle out and we get that good, consistent growth.
772-281-5223. There was a story I read recently, and there was a British poll found that, back in the day, before cell phones, we had everybody's number memorized. Like, I still remember my pager number. 332-4467.
Pager.
That's going back a little bit. That's going back to the 90s.
I can remember the number I had, 4250602. That was the number I had growing up as a kid in my neighborhood. Now, Art McPherson, and this British survey is 100% right, I can barely remember my wife's cell phone number.
I know. It's like, seriously, like everybody used to have like your, I guess, what do we call it? The Fab Five, all of your starred links. You had all those memorized.
Yes.
And you knew them because you were dialing them all the time. And there was no just touch Luke's name and it'll dial the number, or touch Mark's name and it'll dial the number. Yep. So we were always dialing numbers. So our brains were imprinted with those numbers, but not anymore.
Do you ever get that from a new client that says, hey, man, I've had an advisor before, but it kind of feels like in the same vein, they've just lost or they forgot my number. They never call.
Unfortunately, in our industry, that is a common problem. So that is one of the things that Luke and I have tried to make sure that we are not doing as a company, is we want to make sure our clients can get a hold of us and get a hold of a member of the team. So if Luke or I are not available, or Mark, our CPA, is not available, somebody on the team can talk to them and make sure we are following up and getting back with them. We also have a good person in Susan and also Eric are always really good at answering questions. Both of them have their market degrees and they're certified to be able to answer questions like that. And they're very good. And we also have Patrick, who's part of our team, who's very good at that. So we've got a lot of people here at the office that can answer questions about what's going on, and we have weekly meetings about what we're doing as a firm, what we're doing in direction, what we're doing for all of our models. So our whole team knows what's happening. They have Luke's information, that he's given them. They've got Mike's information, my information, and they've also got Mark's information from a tax standpoint. How do we take advantage? And opportunities like this give us an opportunity. One one thing we have been doing as a company is doing a lot of Roth conversions. Roth conversions can save our clients thousands of dollars over time in tax. And right now is a great time. If you've got some equity positions that have gotten hit a little bit, we can do a Roth conversion on that. And we're paying less tax right now than we were back in December. So we are taking advantage of these opportunities because every time we get volatility, there are opportunities there if you can take advantage of them.
Right. And if you think about it right now, right, depending where the market's at, as it opens this next week, you may be getting a 8 to 15% discount from what you would have done end of December as a Roth conversion. So you can almost do another one now and then bake in that discount, pay less taxes. And then when the market rebounds, you get the rebound on the Roth side, the tax-free side. Art was talking a lot about, our communication with our clients, and that's why we have our YouTube channel where we put out our viewpoints. We put out what we're thinking. We put out there, what moves in the markets, what moves in the portfolios we're making and why we're doing them. And some of that is forward-looking, what we see in the market. Some of it's, to protect your assets, to protect, from the downside exposure. Some of it may be from a growth perspective. I mean, we added Chevron this year, right? We've never had an oil stock in the portfolio because over time, oil stocks, oil gets up to 100, 120, 30, and then kind of goes back down. But right now is a good time to own oil. Mm-hmm. So there's certain things like that where we'll put out and all of our clients have access to it. They can listen to us talk for 15, 20 minutes on YouTube or just fast forward to their favorite part. But
just put a search on it.
We just want our clients to be informed.
Yes.
Just put a search on YouTube, McPherson Financial Group, to get those great informational videos. And Art's 100% right. There's something special about being local, involved in the community, and most importantly, available to their clients. 772-281-5223.
Thanks for listening. Want more from Art McPherson of McPherson Financial Group? Find us online at artofmoneyradio.com. We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Securities offered through World Equity Group, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Investment advisory services offered through ProStatus Group, LLC. McPherson Financial Group and ProStatus Group, LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by World Equity Group, Inc. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Investment financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. Art McPherson is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Arthur McPherson. Florida Insurance License number A174. 725.
Today's show has been a work of art.